So in chapter 3 on the topic of elasticities, we have learned 3 different types of measurements of the responsiveness of one variable to the other one. So I know that you might get a little bit mixed up from all these elasticities that we have just learned, because when I was taking microeconomics at college, I remember I really hated memorizing all of these abbreviations, diagrams, ranges of elasticities, and also all of the calculations that I have to do. I think our textbook doesn't really do a good job in summarizing the key characteristics of all of the elasticities considered in this big unit. So today I'm going to do a quick run through, and it will cover almost everything that you need to know for this topic in a pretty clear and easy way. So in chapter 3, we learned price elasticity of demand, PED, price elasticity of supply, PES, and finally income elasticity of demand, YED. So just think of elasticity as the measurement of the responsiveness and sensitivity of variable A to a change in variable B. So in this case, PED is the responsiveness of quantity demanded to a changing price, and PES is the responsiveness of quantity supplied to a changing price, and YED is the responsiveness of demand. Noting that here is not quantity demanded anymore, okay, to changing income. And the sign for PED and PES are both positive. So for PES, it's because of the positive relationship between quantity supplied and price. And for PED, it's positive because we measure this value in absolute term for our convenient purpose, even though technically it should be negative due to the negative relationship between quantity demanded and price. And YED is a little special here since it can be negative or positive, right? So now what I'm going to do is draw something like a timeline to show you all the ranges of these 3 elasticities and their corresponding characteristics and economic models. Okay, so first, PED. Since it is positive, we only care about the range from 0 to infinity. So when PED is equal to 0, it is perfectly inelastic. Like quantity demanded stays the same no matter how the price changes, right? So it is vertical. How to use to remember this is the first letter of inelastic is I, and it kind of looks like this vertical line. So I personally think learning should never be about memorization, to be honest, but the economic intuition actually comes very slowly. So in this way, it'll save you a lot of time, and perhaps like when you do the analysis or take your exam, you'll feel so much more comfortable, right? But just make sure that you know the why behind this graph. Okay, and when PED is equal to 1, demand is unit elastic. Percentage change in quantity demanded is equal to a percentage change in price. And graph looks something like this. When PED is equals to infinity, it is perfectly elastic and it is a horizontal line. It means consumers will buy any quantity at a given price. And when demand is price inelastic, when PED is less than 1 but greater than 0, the percentage change in quantity demanded is smaller than the percentage change in price. It is price inelastic. So when demand is price elastic, that means the value for PED is greater than 1 but less than infinity. And if we use the same scale, we can see that the inelastic demand curve is steeper as it approaches perfectly an elastic curve, right? In this case, the vertical line. And elastic demand is flatter, as you can see. But something that is super important that many students tend to forget is that the PED value actually varies as we move along the demand curve. So at higher prices and lower quantities, demand is price elastic and the value is larger. And when we move down, the value becomes smaller. This is because at this higher range, the percentage change in quantity is large, or in another name, my change in quantity over quantity is large, since quantity, the denominator is very small. Okay, so now for major determinants of PED values. Are you ready? So the first one being the number of substitutes. Higher the number, higher the PED value. And secondly, the substitutability. So higher the substitutability, higher the PED value. And thirdly, if the good is a necessity, PED value will be lower compared to luxury good. So since people will demand the goods no matter how, so just remember the cancer drug case that we have already covered. So usually people will buy those medications to survive no matter how much the price changes, right? And lastly, higher the proportion of one's income needed to buy a certain type of good, higher the PED value. Just think about a case between a chocolate ice cream and a Chanel bag. So if the percentage of price changes by the same amount, say 10%, price for chocolate ice cream will raise, for instance, from $1 to $1.1. And this increase is almost negligible, right? But the quantity demanded for a Chanel bag will increase a lot, say from 3,000 USD to 3,300. Most of the girls are gonna reconsider the number of bags they buy, right? So I hope this makes sense to you. So I'm going a bit over time now. So next time we'll continue cramming through our summaries for YED and PES, right? I'll see you next time.